Hi guys, Ian from HobbyKing.com. Today with the product profile for the HobbyKing Paramotor. Now we're going to go through the unboxing and the build, go through the spec. So onto the unboxing. So that's the Paramotor unboxed, guys. You've got the wing bag, the body of the gondola, the rear landing gear, the supports for the ring, the supports for the parasail, the connections for it, and the arms, and a couple of cable ties that'll secure that to the body. Now, I'm gonna get straight into the build. We're gonna move on to the rear landing gear. So that's the rear landing gear. That's a really simple one. There's just 4 screws at the back that need to be tightened up with the landing gear in the middle, and it sandwiches it in. So let's move on to the ring. We'll get that attached. That's reasonably simple. The motor here comes off and these support brackets are pressed in, but we'll go through that now. Now, as you can see, there's the hard way to do up nuts and there's the easy way. And the easy way would be to have a little spanner. I didn't have a little spanner today. I've obviously misplaced it. So today we're using some long nose pliers. I can hear everybody cringing at home. Anyway, that's what we have today. So that's the bolts removed from the motor mount and the wing support. We swing that around. This comes out really easily now. This will pop off. And then you can see here there's these 4 sections, and that's where the supports for the ring fit in. So we'll do that now. So that's the supports for the ring and also the wing. Now that was reasonably simple to install. There were simply 6 bolts that we took out, 4 around the motor and 2 at the top. We took them out, we put the supports in, we pushed it back together and just reassembled those bolts. So we'll move on to the ring now and the D-shackle, and then we can move on to the arms. But we'll do that now. So that's now the ring installed. All that required was just simply those 4 cable ties secured to those supports, and then the D-shackles that go on here. So at this point, with the gondola, we can set that aside and we can begin to move on to the wing. Now, there's a couple of things that we're gonna have to measure and mark, but I'll take you through that now. It's not that difficult. You'll need a ruler to go through that, so we'll do that now. So I'm just going to lay the wing out, and we'll use the ruler. Is it a rule or a ruler? Comments below. I think it's a rule. All right. So these are our 2 lines here. Now what we need to do is we need to separate these out, and there's a little bit of rubber around that. Now I'm going to move those aside. Now, what you'll need to do is when you have this here, the back of it has this shackle here, and the front of it will be clear. Now, just to make things easier for you moving forward, I suggest you just get a texter out and just mark something on the front. Okay, the permanent marker. Do that for both sides. That'll just make things easy for you. Okay, so we're gonna, this is of course the back because that shackle's there. We're gonna move it around. We're gonna mark the front. Okay, that's done. So there's now 2 marks on the front. Now that we've done that, we need 649 millimeters, and we're gonna measure that from this brake line. Now, they've marked the brake lines for us, so we know which ones they are, and they just come out of that shackle. We can grab that. Now when we're measuring this, what we want to do is we want to measure, you can see where that goes up into the runners there. So we want to measure from the end of this, about there. So 649 millimeters, just stretch that out a little bit. 649. Do the next one. Flip around our rule, although that's still undecided. Move that around up to to the top, same mark. And we want 649 millimeters. 49. That's it, we've got those. So we can now go and install the wing onto the gondola. So I've laid the wing out flat, I've put the risers out the front, we're going to pop them onto the gondola. Now what I've done is I put the leading edge of the wing, it's the part where it folds over, towards the top so that those lines come over. We want from the leading edge straight down onto the front. Those marks that we made earlier will go onto the front of these. So I'm going to move this to here. I'm going to bring those lines up now. All right, and we want this to be in the front. So I'm going to take this off. We're going to feed this through here. Yep, through it goes. This is going to pop into here. All right, now I haven't put the brake line back on just yet. We'll get to that in a minute. We'll do those arms on the gondola. Okay, so that's one side done. Second side done. Okay, so that's those two installed. Now I'm going to pop the arms on and we can tie off the brake lines. So that's the arms installed now. There's just two screws either side that go straight into those servos. So I'm going to move on to the brake now. Now the brake goes through that shackle that we saw earlier. That goes through here, through into the arm and just ties off with a knot where that mark is that we made earlier. So that's the brake lines done. We can move on to the prop now. So that's the prop now installed. What I did want to show you guys is how to pack away the wing. Now, you might think that it gets tangled, but surprisingly it doesn't. The wing's easy enough to pack away and keep out of harm's way. We have supplied you with a wing bag. So all I tend to do is just fold the wing in half, grab the other side, fold it in half, just try and tuck in any of those sort of loose ends. Fold it in half again. Just keep rolling it up. That looks about right. Pop it into the wing bag. Little strings on the front. I'll keep it nice and neat. Okay, and then it's easy for transport. Now I just pop it into there like that. And you're good to go. Now, what I will show you though is the one that we've been flying in the office. I'm going to show you how the arms move. So we've moved the one that we've built to the side, and what I'm now going to show you is the one that we've been flying, and I want to take you through a little bit of the radio setup. Now this is covered in the manual, so you can refer to that. That's found in the files tab of the product listing, and you can also refer to some other videos we have from James Presnell, more on him later. But essentially, these are the controls. If you want to move left, it pulls the brake arm and it brakes that side of the wing and yaws the paramotor around. If you want to go to the right, same deal. The left arm doesn't move, just the right. And what that'll do there is that'll yaw that wing around to the right. Now the brake, that pulls down both and you pull back. When you pull back, both arms come back and that stalls the wing. Now don't suggest you use the brake in flight. You'll get a feel for that as you're going along. But it will very quickly stall that wing and you'll come down. So you might want to try that on landing, get a bit of a feel for it. Ideally, you don't want to touch that while you're beginning out with your paramotor. So now let's move on to the spec of the paramotor. So the paramotors come plug and fly. We do have some spare parts on the way. The parasail span is 2,400 millimeters. It's using a 3530 1400 kV brushless motor, a 10x47 prop, 50 amp ESC, a 5 amp BEC. There are two 15 kilo high torque metal geared servos, and you're aiming for a flying weight of between 1.6 and 2 kilos. You must ensure that weight's there. Probably 1800 is ideal. Too light and the paramotor will not perform as you expect. So that's the paramotor, guys. I did want to say a special thanks to James Presnell. Now, James came to us about 18 months ago and was really keen to work on a paramotor. And at that time, some of you may remember the Bellatrike. I was having a bit of a look at that project and see where that was at. So James happened to come at the same time, and he said, look, I've got this gondola, gondola and wing, you might be interested. And of course we were. So together with James, I spent the better part of the last 18 months coming up with this. And we really hope you enjoy it. And from us at HobbyKing, a big thanks to James. It's, for us, it's really great when we get to do these projects with the community. We hope you enjoy it. So let's go over to James now for a little bit of footage on how to launch the paramotor.
All right, guys, here we are outside. It is time to get our first flight in on the HobbyKing Paramotor. Now, for your first few flights especially, you want to pick a nice calm day that's not too turbulent. In other words, not a whole lot of thermal activity. Okay, so we're going to just lay the wing out flat on the ground here, and now I've got the breeze, what breeze there is, directly at my back. The first thing that I'm going to do is just pull it straight up to make sure the wing is going to come straight overhead. Okay, pretty happy with that, close enough to straight overhead. Now the next thing that I want to do is make sure that my control actions are what I expect. So let's get our wing back flat on the ground here. You want to make sure your wingtips are both fairly well even. I'm going to put in some left control when I pull this up, and you should see the wing go that way. So we're going to put in about half left control, and the wing rotates around. So we know we've got good control. Now if we want to take this one step further, what you can do is pull both brakes into a flare, and the wing should not come up at all. It should actually resist inflating. So now that we know that the wing is going to kite straight overhead with no control inputs, we are ready to try a launch. Give it a little throttle, pull it into the air, increase the throttle, push, and let go. That'll be all right. Okay, there we go, guys. I flared a little high there, but I didn't want to overfly the camera shot. As it gets a little bumpy, what you'll notice is you'll see some sink and lift and some other things that are going on. But you know what? While we're out here, let's just do one more for grins now that the wind has shifted and we're starting to get a little more thermic out here. Now notice that as I let go, I'm increasing throttle a bit so that I don't sink out. And then as soon as you let go, you start driving that throttle. And there we go.
So that's the paramotor, guys. Links to the product below. Subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and we'll see you next time.